Yasodhanandana Brajajana Yasodhanandana Brajajana Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shrila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Caitanya Charitamrita class ki jai. Jai Gaura Premananda. So this morning we are reading from Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi-lila, chapter 7, and text
92.
Do you have a PowerPoint here? Electric point?
Yeah, just over there.
Where is it?
On the other side of the keychain.
I just noticed my battery is going flat.
Okay. You have the cable?
There's a cable in my bag upstairs. I'll give you the key.
Can you plug it in upstairs or down?
I need it here. You got an extension there too.
Yeah. It's for an iPad, right? You get the extension. That the cable just in the extension.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Nachagaho Bhakta Sangakara Sankirtana Krishna Nama Upadesi Tara Sarvagyan Nachagaho Bhakta Sange Kara Sankirtana Krishna Nama Upadasi Tara Sarvagyan Nachagaho Bhakta Sangha Kara Sankirtana Krishna Nama Upadasi Tara Sarvagyan
Nachogayo Bhakta Shangi Kara Sankirtana Krishna Nama Upadeshitara Savadhana Krishna Nama Upadeshitara Savadhana
Vaishnavis. More. Thank you. Says it's not charging. Nacha. Go on dancing. Gaho. Chant. Bhakta Sangha. Sanghe. In the society of devotees. Kara. Continue. Sankirtana. Chanting of the holy names in assembly. Krishna, Nama, the holy name of Krishna. Upadeshi, by instructing. Tara, deliver. Sarva Jnana, all fallen souls. Translation. My dear child, continue dancing, chanting, and performing Sankirtan in association with devotees. Furthermore, go out and preach the value of chanting Krishna's name, for by this process you will be able to deliver all fallen souls. Srila Prabhupada's purport. It is another ambition of the spiritual master to see his disciples not only chanting, dancing, and following the regulative principles, but also preaching the Sankirtan movement to others in order to deliver them. For the Krishna Consciousness movement is based on the principle that one should become as perfect as possible in devotional service oneself and also preach the cult for others' benefit. There are two classes of unalloyed devotees, namely Goshtianadis and Bhajananandis. Bhajananandis refer to one who is satisfied to cultivate devotional service for himself. And Goshtianadi is one who is not satisfied simply to become perfect himself, but wants to see others also take advantage of the holy name of the Lord and advance in spiritual life. The outstanding example is Prahlad Maharaj. When he was offered a benediction by the Lord, Nrsingadev, Prahlad Maharaj said, "My dear Lord, I have no problem. I want no benedictions from you because I am quite satisfied to chant your holy name. This is sufficient for me because whenever I chant, I immediately merge into an ocean of transcendental bliss. I only lament to see others bereft of your love. They are rotting in the material activities for transient material pleasure and spoiling their lives, toiling all day and night simply for sense gratification, with no attachment for the love of Godhead. I am simply lamenting for them and devising various plans to deliver them from the clutches of Maya." Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explained in his Anubhashya, a person who has attracted the attention of the spiritual master by his sincere service likes to dance and chant with similar devoted, developed Krishna conscious devotees. The spiritual master authorizes such a devotee to deliver fallen souls in all parts of the world. Those who are not advanced prefer to chant the Hare Krishna mantra in a solitary place. Such activities constitute, in the language of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, a type of cheating process, in the sense that they imitate the activities of exalted personalities like Haridas Thakur. One should not attempt to imitate such exalted devotees. Rather, everyone should endeavor to preach the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in all parts of the world and thus become successful in spiritual life. One who is not very expert in preaching may chant in a secluded place, avoiding bad association, but for one who is actually advanced, preaching and meeting people who are not engaged in devotional service are not disadvantaged. A devotee gives the non-devotees his association, but is not affected by their misbehavior. Thus, by the activities of a pure devotee, even those who are bereft of love of God get a chance to become devotees of the Lord one day. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur advises that one discuss the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam beginning Naitat Samacharaj Judo Manasupi Hi Anishwara 10:30 Srimad Bhagavatam. Or is it here? And the following verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-2-5-5 Anasakasya Vishayan Ataraham Upayanujataha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe yuptam varagyam ujjate. One should not imitate the activities of great personalities. One should be detached from material enjoyment and should accept everything in connection with Krishna's service. Om Agya-timanandasya Dinanjana Slakaya Chaksuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swabadantikam Vancha Kalpajubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitananam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gauranga Hare Krishna 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 Hare. So this was 2 instructions from Lord Chaitanya, that we should develop a taste for the holy name, and at the same time we should go and give Krishna consciousness to those who don't have. These are the 2 main instructions which have been given to us if we call ourselves devotees. And in ISKCON, actually, the first purpose of ISKCON is stated to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge in society at large and to educate all people in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace within the world. I was on the underground yesterday, and I came on one underground where when the train stopped at the platform, there was an announcement, mind the gap, mind the gap, mind the gap. It said 3 times, mind the gap. And there was a big gap in between the platform and the train. And I was thinking, I kind of related that a little bit to a devotee who's not actually practicing in as much that he's preaching. There becomes a gap in spiritual life. That we may be following the 4 regulative principles and we may be chanting our rounds, but we're not entirely happy and satisfied. We're not actually experiencing the Amrita, the nectar which Lord Chaitanya has promised us if we assist him in this preaching of the Sankirtan movement. So, of course, I don't think there's a situation in this temple where you have to mind the gap, because there is no gap. Your temple president, no doubt, is filling that gap for you, giving you services, and that you can go out and assist Guru and Krishna in spreading Krishna consciousness. Because the point is that it is the greatest disgrace to the spiritual master if we're actually morose in Krishna consciousness. If we're morose, if we actually come before the spiritual master in the mood of being morose, really, well, okay, you've initiated me, but I'm not happy. It's kind of actually one of the biggest disgraces within Krishna consciousness, to come before the spiritual master in a mood of being very morose. Because everything has been provided. ISKCON has provided everything for everyone to be happy. So if we're not happy, it's not on the part of ISKCON, it's not on the part of the GBC, it's not on the part of our spiritual master, it's not on the part of the temple president, but we need to look at ourselves. This is important. Sometimes I'm asked, so you've been a devotee for so long, what is your secret? And I will tell very clearly that the secret is I've always preached. I've always preached somewhere within the course of my days as a devotee. And if you can also go somewhere where it's even difficult to preach, that's even better. So not only to preach, but go somewhere where you're going to need to make an extra endeavor or an extra sacrifice in order to spread Krishna consciousness. This is even better. And of course this is the London is Maya's kingdom, or Kali's kingdom, and consort Sin is present with Kali, making sure that everyone is inundated with and intoxicated with material enjoyment. So then, therefore, when we go out and make our little effort, we go out like soldiers, fighting. It has to be a fight, because if we want to overcome the influence within the city, the Maya that is surrounding the city, we must go out with conviction, with determination, with a purpose in mind, that today I will not go back to the temple without somehow penetrating someone's heart and convincing them that there's a better way to live, and it is the way of a devotee. So this is the mood that we picked up from Prabhupada. He spread Bhakti where Bhakti had never been spread before, so he was Krishna's ambassador in every respect. And he used to say that preaching means botheration, because you have to bother someone to preach to them. They're going in a certain direction, with a certain idea in mind, with a certain purpose, with a certain goal, and suddenly you're stopping them. Stop. I have something to tell you. So you're bothering them. And sometimes they tell you, don't bother me. Go away, don't bother me. Yeah? But we still continue until we know it. There's a point where, you draw the line, okay, there's nothing I can do here. He's hell-bent in going to hell. So I tried my best, let's see if there's someone else here. And then we stop someone else. Stop. Yeah? And this way we go from one person to the next, to the next, to the next. There's plenty of persons out there, and each person we should give them an opportunity. At least we try to give them Krishna consciousness. And sometimes, of course, we make distinctions. Well, we're looking at different people and we think, well, he will take, but he will not take. But we find out after a while that actually even these designated distinctions between one and another is of no value to us, because Lord Chaitanya wants to enter into someone's heart. If he sees that someone is ready, we cannot read their heart, but Lord Chaitanya can. and he will make an arrangement that that person will come to a devotee and receive Krishna consciousness. So this is the mood. Is here explained that there are two kinds of devotee moods. One is the one who preaches and the one who simply accepts the Krishna consciousness for himself. Vajananandi, and what's the other one? Gosti and Adi. And it is said that knowledge which one keeps for oneself is like water in a cracked pot. So we may acquire knowledge, just like we're sitting listening to a class. You're listening, I'm speaking. So we're all acquiring some knowledge here. And we walk away from the class, no doubt, better than when we began the class. So we're daily walking away with knowledge of Krishna. But it's stating here that if we don't then give it to others, then it is like water in a broken pot. Gradually that knowledge will disappear as the days go by that you don't preach. And in fact, self-realization is also based on hearing and then chanting. So you hear the knowledge and then you give the knowledge to others. It's the example that I give, like you just given me some water here. Okay? So if I accidentally knock this cup on the floor, okay, what's your name?
I'm back to clever.
Back to clever?
Clever.
Back to clever.
Clever.
Kleba, okay. Okay, back to Kleba. What clever thing would you do if I knocked this water on the floor? What would you do?
I'd try it.
Huh?
I'd take a towel and try it before.
Okay. What about if there's so much water that the towel becomes saturated wet?
I squeeze it in a bucket.
Good. Very good. And then?
Try again.
Try again.
And give you more water.
And squeeze again, right? If there's still lots of water on the floor.
Yeah.
So you keep squeezing. Collect, squeeze. Collect, squeeze. Right? That's the process. So we are hearing, we need to chant whatever we hear. Otherwise we become wet sponges within the temple. We become wet sponges. And the tendency then is to be a little bit critical. Oh no, another Bhagavatam class. I have heard this all before. You're not this body, spirit, soul. You're not this body, spirit, soul. You're not this body, your spirit, soul. You know. How long can you hear the philosophy? Day after day, day after day, day after day, without getting some realizations. This is one of the pitfalls within Krishna consciousness. I've seen it over and over again. Devotees, they think they can just be comfortable within the temple and they don't have to preach. And they hear and hear and hear and hear and become more and more saturated with knowledge, more knowledge, more knowledge, 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 more knowledge, more knowledge, more knowledge, until they become wet sponges and then completely dissatisfied. And that if someone goes out, let's say you go out for this first day. What's your name again?
Clever.
Clever. You go out. You cleverly go out and you cleverly give a book to someone and say, "Excuse me, sir, did you know that you're not this body, your spirit, soul?" Let's say the first time you don't give a book, you just tap someone on the shoulder and you say, "Did you know you're not this body, your spirit, soul?" And then you run back to the temple. "I did it. I told someone." You know, you're excited because you told someone. Yeah? Simple thing, you're not this body. Something that you've been hearing for a long time. And then the next morning's class, suddenly you hear the same old message, "You're not this body, your spirit, soul." And then suddenly you have a new realization. Suddenly you realize that, hey, it's not so bad again. I've heard this same thing again, but this time it's not so bad. Why is that? Why do you think that is? What happened in between?
Because we preach to someone, we preach to someone.
Yes. And?
Please, Krishna.
No, not only that. What did you get? Self-realization. You see? Realization doesn't come just by hearing, it comes by hearing and chanting. I am chanting now. You think that I'm not benefiting from this class? In fact, I have to be more attentive than you because I'm giving the class. Somehow I've got to penetrate into your hearts. I've been put on the spot to enter into your hearts. You've taken the trouble to sit here, and I have to somehow deliver something that you will walk away saying, "Oh, that was nice. I feel much more happy in Krishna consciousness now." So I'm chanting. But it's interesting when I go on preaching tours, especially in Russia, because in Russia they tend to milk you so much. You get a morning class, an evening class, and during the day there's darshans and there's brahmachari classes or whatever, and I did a full day for 1 month. And then towards the end of the month you try to give a class and you cannot actually even say anything because you've given so much of yourself. So then you become like a dry sponge, you see? And then you know, it's time for me to go and listen to one of my God brothers. So then I have to listen. So it's not all about just listening, and it's not all about just chanting. There's a combination, hearing and chanting, hearing and chanting. If we get that balance right, we'll be very, 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 very happy in Krishna consciousness. So like the traveling parties, some of them have been out. You have a traveling party here?
Yes.
So they're coming back. They'll need to come back.
They're back already now. We came back with a good show.
Okay. They need to come back because they've been absorbed, totally absorbed in chanting, 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 chanting. Probably not even enough time to hear. Because, you wake up, chant your japa, take breakfast, and you're out on the street. But you can't do that too long before you need to come back and hear again. You're not this body, spirit, soul. You're not this body, spirit, soul. And when you come back, especially after a traveling Sankirtan or a traveling tour, and you hear the philosophy, it's just like, wow. I've heard this before, but suddenly this really, really entered my heart so deeply. I've never felt that before. So, Lord Chaitanya knows this. That's why He has asked us to engage in preaching. He can deliver the whole world Himself, no problem. Just like that, He can turn this world upside down at his will. But he understands that in order for us to develop our own Krishna consciousness, we need to do some service. So he's given us this engagement, deliver the world, make everyone a devotee. So that is our wish, our attempt. Unless a devotee is compassionate to preach, one is only a third-class devotee. To award fearlessness to the non-devotees is the highest welfare work. Such a devotee is on the second-class platform. I mentioned one verse in the seventh canto, one of the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. I have another prayer here too, which is also very sweet. My dear Lord Nrsingadev, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they are interested only in their own deliverance, not caring for the big cities and towns. They go to the Himalayas or the forest to meditate with vows of silence, Mauna Vrata. They are not interested in delivering others. As far as me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of the lotus feet, the Lord's lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to the shelter of your lotus feet. And there's a similar offering that Prabhupada gave in 1961. And there was a Vyasa Puja offering to his spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta, after he had left the world. This was in 1961. So this is interesting what Prabhupada said, because he was only a young sannyasi. And, compared to many of his other godbrothers, he was only junior to them. But he actually preached to them, and this is what he said. Even now, my dear brothers, you return here on the order of our master, and together we are engaged in this puja. But simply a festival of flowers and fruits does not constitute worship. The one who serves the message of the Guru really worships him. Oh shame, my dear brothers, are you not embarrassed? In the manner of businessmen, you increase your disciples. Our master said to preach. Let the neophytes remain inside the temple and simply ring the bells. Take a good look at the terrible situation that has arisen. Everyone has become a sense enjoyer and has given up the preaching. From the seas across the earth, penetrate the universal shell. Come together and preach this Krishna consciousness. Then our master's service will be in the proper order. Make your promise today. Give up all your politics and diplomacy. When will that day come when a temple will be established in everyone's house, in every corner of the world? When will the high court judge be a Gaudiya Vaishnava with tilak, beautifying and decorating his forehead? When will a Vaishnava winning votes be elected? Why are you scratching? Go and wash yourself then. When will a Vaishnava winning votes be elected president of the land and preaching be spread everywhere? And then there was that quote by, actually, Tamal Krishna once asked Prabhupada regarding preaching, because his inquiry was that if we go out and preach, there will be some contamination, because the people are very contaminating, and the places are very contaminating. So when we go out and preach, we will also become contaminated. This was Tamal Krishna Maharaj's inquiry to Prabhupada. So if we become contaminated like that, some degree of contamination will be there. Then what about if we don't remember Krishna at the time of death because of the preaching? And Prabhupada replied, then you take that chance for Krishna. And if there's some deficiency at the time of death, because you have served Sri Sri Gaurnitai nicely, sincerely, they will enter the recesses of your mind and heart and drag you back home, back to Godhead. So in other words, Prabhupada was saying that in some sense he was saying, in fact in this purport he's also saying, there's no such thing as contamination for a Sankirtan devotee. But if there is, even if there is, take the chance for Krishna. Because of your sincerity, Sri Sri Gaurnitai will assist you and give you the highest benediction. So it is really no excuse for us. We cannot give an excuse for not to preach. Everything is being provided for us. And then there's a quote, preaching and good behavior. The best way to preach is through our good examples. This is another way of preaching, to be a good example as a devotee. Real preaching has little to do with mere articulation. Sometimes Sankirtan devotees, they're asking another devotee, what mantra do you say? Maybe your mantra is better than my mantra. I'll try your mantra today and you try mine if you like, and we swap mantras. But this is articulation. This is what articulation means. An artificial imposition, that we think that it's a mechanical process. But actually no part of Krishna consciousness or devotional service is mechanical. It is a spiritual activity. And because it's a spiritual activity, we need to be worthy recipients of the spiritual energy that can come down upon you. Actually, you will not receive it until you're a recipient. So being a worthy recipient means, as I say, we can speak so many words which help with communication, but the biggest preaching is through our example. Otherwise we just become self-righteous and constantly try to attack others. So an example, I think it was Haridas Thakur and who was it? Nityananda said to Haridas Thakur that it wasn't Nityananda. Who was it? He said to Haridas Thakur not only are you a good at devotee, at practicing, but you also have good behavior. Your behavior is excellent. Some devotees have good behavior, but they don't preach. Others devotees can preach, but they have bad behavior. Somehow we've got to, preach and also have good behavior. Be a good example. I can't remember who it was that said it.
One of the Goswamis, Vipravasanathan.
Yeah. Prabhupada also mentioned about his spiritual master. Bhaktivedanta was criticized for having a chopping technique in his preaching, which devastated his opponents. And then Prabhupada also mentions how the Goswamis wanted to kill him. They actually tried to make some arrangement with the police, bribe the police to get rid of Bhaktisiddhanta. But the police declined, saying, "We do take bribes, but in such a case, he is a holy man, we decline." And Srila Prabhupada said in regards to himself that his problem was he could not think small. No matter how impossible a task may be, if it's done for Krishna and not any personal motivation, it could be achieved. That's interesting too. That, well, we personally saw as disciples what Prabhupada did within that short space of time where he did preach and he traveled around the world and opened up centers, farms, schools, made thousands of devotees, initiated them, trained them. And I guess I'm a living example of that mercy, because, Lord Chaitanya delivers the most fallen first. He delivered Jagai and Madai. They were the worst. They were so bad. They would look into the scriptures and find what is the biggest sin that you can commit. And they found out that the biggest sin that you could commit is go to a householder's home, rape the wife in front of the Brahmin, and then kill the Brahmin in front of the wife. So they would do things like that. So we were the second fallen souls, we Prabhupada disciples. At least I can't speak for my God brothers and sisters, but we were a funny bunch. We came from a funny background, and I think the only good thing was within us was that we were revolutionaries. We had joined the hippie revolution to change the world, and that was our credit. But apart from that, we had no qualities, no good conduct, and Prabhupada literally had to start from ABC. When I first met Prabhupada, I came to the temple. What's that about?
Stop the actually projector.
You just turned it off. Okay. Yeah, when I first came to meet Prabhupada, the devotees were complaining because I had smelly feet. I hadn't changed my socks in 9 days, and they basically told me, if you want to come back here again, please change your socks or wash your feet. This is the ABC. ABC. Cleanliness next to godliness. So we were so lazy and dull-headed that we didn't even wash our feet properly. And we would come to the temple. I remember we had a center in Notting Hill Gate. You literally had to hold your nose as you came into the temple, because everyone came with smelly feet. It was terrible. So we were delivered because we were the most fallen. Lord Chaitanya delivers the most fallen first. So if he can, and the idea is that if he can deliver Jagai and Madhai and people like us, myself, then he can deliver anyone. So he wanted to prove that if these can become devotees, then anyone can become devotees. And of course we made a lot of mistakes. We were the guinea pigs within Krishna Consciousness. We did all the things wrong so that today you can do all the things right. So we got a lot of mercy, whether it was, that's why positive and negative within Krishna Consciousness is the same. It's all good. And we learned it. We learned that in those early days. There was nothing that was impossible. And Prabhupada also said that Bhaktivedanta was 20% lenient, and I was 80% lenient. I walked through fire to establish ISKCON. One time a disciple asked Prabhupada if he could go to Radhakund to chant 64 rounds every day. And Prabhupada said, no, there are already so many monkeys there already. And another time, a servant introduced Prabhupada to a devotee who had learnt the whole of Bhagavad Gita. It was the first devotee in ISKCON who had learnt the Bhagavad Gita from beginning to end. So he was introduced to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, this is your disciple, such and such. He has memorized the whole Bhagavad Gita. And then this devotee naturally was thinking, Prabhupada's going to glorify him and praise him. But instead Prabhupada he didn't even look at him. He just said to the servant, well, make sure that he's engaged in some service while here in Vrindavan. And then another disciple once said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you speak so nicely about Krishna. And Prabhupada's reply to that was, you speak or I speak, Krishna is sweet. Don't think that just because I'm your spiritual master, I'm the only one who can preach. You also preach and you also be successful. Sweet meat is sweet whether you eat it or I eat it. So in this way, Prabhupada was not going to allow us to lean on him. Oh, you're the pure devotee. You know how to preach. We don't know how to. He trained us in that way. In fact, sometimes there would be a big pandal where he was supposed to speak. Thousands of people coming. So he'd listen to Prabhupada, and then suddenly he would point to one of the devotees, the disciples, and say, okay, tonight you speak. You can imagine how the disciple felt, not only in front of so many thousands of people, but in front of the spiritual master too. So we were put on our toes. From day one, we were put on our toes. Be a wonderful devotee. And how to do that? Surrender, sacrifice, do something heroic. There's no victory without defeating over something. Defeat over your laziness. Defeat over your lethargicness. Defeat over Maya. Declare war against Maya. She may declare war against you, but because you're doing it for Krishna, for Lord Chaitanya, He will protect you. So in this way, this is how the mood Prabhupada had in establishing Krishna consciousness in those early days. And in one sense he was as surprised as we are today. He himself was surprised that he did so much. But this is the inconceivable arrangement of Lord Chaitanya, that if we're just sincere, then he will arrange the rest. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Jai. Chanting 16 rounds every day ki, Jai. And going out on preaching to the fallen souls and helping to deliver them, to increase Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement ki, Jai Gaura Premanandi. You wanted to show a video or something?
I don't have one.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. We will read Sankirtan's course. Okay, so yesterday in Closet Krishna in Rochester, we distributed 5 small books, 12 medium books, 3 big books and 7 Maha big books, and collected a total of 601 Lakshmi point. In Radha's boutique, 6 books were distributed and collection was 300 Lakshmi points. Haribol! And in Govinda's restaurant, yesterday was busy day, 296 paid customers were served, and the collection was 2,654.39 Lakshmi points. Haribol! Okay, and on Street Sankirtan, the day before last day, yes, today is last one. So, 20 scores were submitted, starting with Diane and Dean account, 2 Lakshmi points, 2 medium books for 1 book point. Haribol. Malini Priyadasi, 6 Lakshmis, 1 Maha big book for 2 book points. Amrita Gopal Dasi, so 10 Lakshmi points, 10 small books for 2.5 book points. Beatrice Sanobach, so 12 Lakshmi points, 2 medium books, 2 Maha big books for 5 book points. Rosie Kaur, 13 Lakshmi points, 1 medium book, 3 Maha big books for 6.5 book points. Soumya Radhika, 12 Lakshmi points, 2 medium books, 3 Maha big books for 7 book points. Haribol. Bhakta Pramod, 17 Lakshmi points, 7 small books, 3 Maha big books for 7.75 book points. Lavanga Latika Devi Dasi, 48 Lakshmi points, 40 small books, 10 medium books for 15 book points. Bhaktarian, 40 Lakshmi points, 17 medium books for and 6 Mahabig books for 20.5 book points. Jani Taidas, 48 Lakshmi points, 3 small books, 10 medium, 9 Mahabig for 23.75 book points. Aniket Narkede, 50 Lakshmi points, 13 Mahabig books for 26 book points. Jani Tai Prabhu Mentorship Group, 59 Lakshmi points, 8 medium books, 14 Mahabig books for 32 book points. This actually was a book table, yeah. So they placed book table opposite temple on the street. Then Baba Bhakti's Menti Group, 89 Lakshmi points, 8 small books, 29 medium books, and 14 Mahabig books for 44.5 book points. Haribol. Bhaktavayu, 144 Lakshmi points, 10 small books, 12 medium, 14 Mahabig books, and 1 set Chaitanya Charitamrita, 54.5 book points. Haribol. Madhurya Gorangi Devi Dasi, 118 Lakshmi points, 7 medium books, 9 big and 31 Mahabig for 74.5 book points. Haribol. Rishi Roy Goranga Das, 172 Lakshmi points, 46 Mahabig books for 92 book points. Haribol. Bhakta Sami. Okay, Sami is not with us. Getting ready for a new day, for last day. 203 Lakshmi points and 55 Mahabig books for 110 book points. Haribol. Very good result. Nam Sankirtan Das, 365 Lakshmi points, 98 Mahabig books for 196 book points. Haribol. And very top of the list, Sharada Devi Dasi, 400 Lakshmi points, 144 Mahabig books for 288 book points. Haribol. It's very great because Mother Sharada is really senior devotee, and she is really one of the best during the marathon. So altogether 20 scores, 20 scores. 1,916 Lakshmi points, 78 small books, 175 medium, 9 big and 465 Mahabig books, and 1 set. Altogether 1,064 Lakshmi points. So we nearly hit our target. So our target was 60,000 Lakshmi points. Today, the result is by today 59,868. So we are just 132 Lakshmi points down. So I suppose we'll do it. We'll make it today all together.
We have a short day today.
Well, we have short day, but still is some time.
65,000.
Yeah. Well, anything may happen. So please, everyone join. So let's hit this target together. Let's make this 132 at least, plus. So like that. So okay, we are nearly to the boiling point. Yeah. So let's make thermometer pop. So like that, both of them. Okay, and then just to check the UK list. So. Gopal Roy Das from Wales is on the first position, firm. Then Ananda Chaitanya Das, actually 1, 2, 3, 4 Manor devotees. Ananda Chaitanya Das, Bhakta Ganesh, Janakina Das, and Guru Shakti Devi Dasi. And then 6th position, Nam Sankirtan Das Soho. 7th position, Bhakta Nikhil from Manor. And 8th position, Rishi Roy Goranga Das Soho. 11th position, Sharada Devi Dasi from Soho. Yeah, like that. Haribol. Okay, so we will say a prayer, but before we say a prayer, is it a good idea to do breakfast in the restaurant? Yeah. So we'll do breakfast in the restaurant. Who would love to serve? Men or ladies? Okay, please, thank you very much. Okay. Dear Shishi Radha Londonishvara, Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra, Shishi Gornitai, and Giri Govardhan, we offer our most respectful obeisances unto you. In a mood of deep gratitude and appreciation We request your causeless mercy upon us. For your pleasure, if you so desire, we wish to erect a holy place of your transcendental pastimes that will attract unlimited souls to your service and fulfill the vision of your pure devotee Shrila Prabhupada for London. Please enable us to cooperate together in order to satisfy you in this way. We, your surrendered servants, humbly beg. New temple for Radha London Ishvara ki jai.